Hello guys, how do Bitcoin transaction works? Bitcoin transactions are messages that state the movement of Bitcoin from sender to receivers. Transactions are digitally signed using cryptography and sent to the entire Bitcoin network for verifications. Transaction information is public and can be found on the digital ledger known as the blockchain. The history of each and every Bitcoin transaction leads back to the point where the Bitcoin were first produced or mined. Overview. If you want to send some money to your friend in the traditional banking system, you had probably use a bank app or website to transfer the funds, and the bank would handle everything behind the scene. However, you can send Bitcoin without the need for central authority like a bank. The Bitcoin transactions process ensure the transactions are legitimate, secure, and transparent. The following is a Bitcoin transaction overview. Creating a transaction. When you send Bitcoin, you create a transaction from your digital wallet. This transaction includes the sender address, public key, the recipient address, public key, the amount of Bitcoin to be sent, and the transaction fee that you are willing to pay to the miners. Digital signatures. To prove that you are the owner of the Bitcoin you want to send, the transaction must be signed using the private key, although a cryptographic process. This is not a digital signature. It's essential to keep a private key secret because it's like your digital password. Broadcasting or confirmations. Once signed, the transaction is broadcasted to the Bitcoin network and goes into the mempool, which is like a waiting room for transactions that are waiting to be confirmed. Miners can pick transactions from the mempool to form new blocks. The first miners to solve a difficult mathematical problems get to make the next block. The winning miners broadcast its new block, which gets confirmed by the rest of network. Transaction finalization. Once confirmed, the new block is added to each network participant copy of the blockchain. The transactions in the new block are considered to be confirmed. However, it's common practice to wait for at least six confirmations, six more blocks to be added after the block containing your transaction to consider the transaction final. This is to ensure that the transaction will not be reversed or double spent in case of temporary fault in the blockchain. Bitcoin exists as records of Bitcoin transactions. We define a Bitcoin as a chain of digital signature. Each owner transfers Bitcoin to the next by digitally signing a hash of previous transaction and the public key of the next owner and adding these to the end of the coin. A pay can verify the signature to verify the chain of ownership. Bitcoin do not exist per se. There are no physical Bitcoin, nor do Bitcoin owner have an account. Instead, they are the blockchain, which you can think of as ledger or a record of all the transactions that have ever taken place between Bitcoin address. These transactions records updated by the Bitcoin network participants nodes and shared across each of its nodes as balances increase and decrease. You can use the block explorer if you want to see history as well as current balance of any given Bitcoin address. Public and private keys. To send Bitcoin, you must have access to the public and private keys associated with the account of Bitcoin you want to send. When we talk of someone owning Bitcoins, what it actually mean that person has access to a key pair comprised of a public key, an address to which some amount Bitcoin was previously sent, the corresponding unique private key, a password which authorizes the Bitcoin previously sent to the above public key address to be sent elsewhere. Public key, also called Bitcoin address, are randomly generated sequence of letters and numbers that function similarly to an email address or a social media site username. As the name implies, they are public, so you are safe sharing them with others. In fact, you must give your Bitcoin address to others when you want them to send you a Bitcoin. The private key is another sequence of letters and numbers.